Good afternoon, dear teacher and classmates. Today I will talk about two fundamental concepts in English for learning EFL teaching, linguistic competence and communicative competence, and their importance in teaching English as a foreign language. To learn a language, it is not enough to simply memorize the rules of words. It is also necessary to know how and when to use the language in the real life. Therefore, in this presentation, we will explore that linguistic competence is, what communicative competence is, what their differences are, why both are essential in teaching English. The first is linguistic competence. Definition. Linguistic competence refers to a person's ability to construct and understand correct sentences following the rules of the language. It is basically the internal knowledge we have about the grammar, vocabulary, and some of the language. This concept was proposed by linguistic Noam Chomsky in 1965 within his theory of generative grammar, which holds that we all have an innate ability to learn language. The main focus of the linguistic competence is on understanding and correctly handling the structure of language, how words, sentences, pronunciation, and meaning are formed. It is the knowledge that allows us to distinguish between correct and incorrect sentences. The next is communicative competence. Definition. On the other hand, communicative competence is the ability to use language appropriately and effectively in different social and cultural contexts. It is not only important to know the rules, but also to know when, how, and with how to speak. This concept was introduced by Dalheims in 1972. A linguistic house studied language from a social-cultural perspective, focusing on how we use language to communicate in society. Communicative competence encompasses the functional and social use of language. It includes not only grammatical knowledge, but also knowing how to use language appropriately according to the context, cultural, and relationship between people. Difference between linguistic competence and communicative competence. Here we can see the difference between these two concepts. Concept one, concept two. Well, linguistic competence focus on rules, structure, communicative competence focus on the actual use of language in social interaction, considering cultural and contextual aspects. The next is the practical example English EFL. In the first, the linguistic competence provides the basic for understanding and construct the language correctly, but communicative competence is that all students to use English effectively in real life situations, such as conversing of solving communicative problems, maybe. Some practical examples in EFL, for example, in class, we can teach grammar, so tell students from correct sentences, maybe, but we can also do activities such as role playing, fill in the blank activities, debates, um, direct error correction, maybe develop strategies for communication when they don't know a word are confused. In the third case, I think is so important, the linguistic competence. Is we can give the example of grammar correction. For example, she doesn't go. Is correct? Not. She don't go is the correct grammar. Is a clear example. Another example, the communicative competence, is when a person apologizes formal or informal, depending on the situation. For example, when you have with I'm sorry, finish. Thank you very much for your attention.